What you laughing at, man? You didn't think I had a... You didn't think I was going to take you to a... You didn't know I was into a big time...
It's a big deal. You're starting to show me more and more who you are. You got the right person for the job. Nah, I'm just appreciative. This is pretty cool. I've never seen anything like this. Like, we see stuff like this on TV. This is pretty cool. I like this a lot. You did a great job.
Now,
you did a great job.
She said you were good for this. When I told you I was bringing you on or whatever, she said, I said he's passionate. I said we can talk about a lot of things.
Absolutely.
I said it's not just the why, but you as a black man, what you see our community, how you see our community, and the way you see our community. But the first 10 minutes before you come on, I do my own commentary. I say what I want to say and how I want to say it.
Yes, sir. Gotcha.
Whatever I'm going to talk about today should be very interesting.
Yes, sir. I'm here to learn. Appreciate you, Ms. Utley, inviting me.
Now enjoy the show, The Voice 17104, a station for everyone.
Welcome to Did You Know? Podcast, your host, Richard Utley, dedicated to the African American viewers. The program is aimed to celebrate African American culture and deal with the real and relevant topics that impact the everyday lives of the African American community through frank and insightful dialogue with local and national influencers. Every day, there is another horrible, discouraging news story, directly or indirectly, impacting African Americans. But we need to look at the shining stars in the galaxy of Black America. It is time to tell our story.
Well, good evening, and welcome to another Did You Know? Well, you know, today in Pennsylvania, it's election day, so you need to get out there and vote. No excuses. Today is the day of reckoning. Instead of you sitting back complaining, woe's me, step up to the plate. And I got a couple things to say about election coming up. I hope that you do your research and find out who the candidates are and find out who best serves your needs. You know, too often we just go in unprepared. Somebody hands you a card at the poll, you just go in and you just vote for them. We need to stop doing that. We need to make sure that those people have our vested interests. And if they don't have our vested interests, then we don't need to vote for them. Now, number one. Number two, I'm amazed that sometimes when I've been encouraging people to run for office, if you're going to run for office, do your homework. What do I mean by your homework? You need to know to find out the office that you want to run. Are you capable of fulfilling those duties? Number two, do you meet all the requirements? Three, always sit back and ask yourself, is there anything that I need to know or tell somebody else? And I always say that, you know, I've ran many campaigns, and one of the first things I always do when I meet people who want me to help them with their campaign, I would say, is there anything that I need to know? Is there anything that's going to come out in your background? I need to know that so we can deal with it. So when you don't speak up and you run for things and things come out, that's not a good thing. If you're going to run for office, you can't owe taxes. If you're going to run for office, you need to figure out what people are going to say about you. I think sometimes people run for office and you think it's going to be an easy road. It's rough. It's combat. It's war. I know that's why some of you don't run. So if you think that somebody's not going to attack you, you're greatly mistaken. If you think somebody's not going to go way back and find out what you did 5 years ago or 10 years ago, that may not happen. So it's best for you to address it up front. let you tell your story opposed to having somebody else tell their story. That's why I have this program, Did You Know? Because it's up to us to do our own narrative, who we are, as opposed to having somebody else do our narrative. So I'm telling all of you now, get out to vote. That's very important. And support those candidates that's going to look out for you. Because I keep telling you, we got to develop our own network as far as candidates running for office. The other thing is that as we see things changing, people want to get rid of history or act like history didn't exist. That's not going to happen. Because anybody can Google and get information. So if you want to act like what is soul or soul food, somebody asks what soul food is, that's going to help encourage them to figure out what the word soul is. My issue with that is that we, as a people, are going to have to take responsibility, our narrative of our history. We're going to have to walk the walk and do the talk. So I'm encouraging churches, local and national networks to start to tell our story. Say who we are and how we got to where we got to. And I think that's very important. And as each week, as you know, I bring up certain history. So I have four pictures I'm going to bring up, and I want you to find out who they are. You do your own research and stop letting people tell you who they are. You find out who they are. So here's the first one. Find out who she is. Do your research. Because we have a lot of people that we should be so proud of. I'm tired of all the negative things they say about us. So I've decided we're going to tell our own story. So find out who she is. Do your research. Okay, the next one. Find out who this person is. Do your research. There's a lot of people that we need to know who they are. And all of them are not famous. We have a lot of role models in our community. And we need to start paying honor to those role models who has paved the way for all of us. Here's the third one. Find out who he is. Do your research. Be proud. Because these were fighters for us. And the fourth one. These are the 4 pictures that I put up today, and I'm going to put up different people so that you can find out who they are. Because sometimes we know who some of the famous people are, but there's a lot of people that we should be proud of. And so it's my job that I believe that I need to do some history teaching to you. But I'm going to say this again. It's the responsibility of us telling our story. So, you know, way back, churches played a very intricate role into our history and who we are. Churches, organizations, YMCAs that were in the black community, Boys and Girls Club in the black community. So local and national networking now, we need to start doing our own history lessons. So I'm putting the responsibility on all of us. I think if we tell our young people who we are and where we really came from, I think they'll be very proud. They will find out that we're fighters and we're survivors. And I have to say this with this word, I'll leave this buzzword with you, survivors. Because I think we're going to have to be survivors again. I don't think we have a choice. So what am I going to leave you with before I bring on my special guest? I want you to do some research. South Africa. I'm going to repeat it again. South Africa. I want you to do your research on South Africa. I want you to also look up apartheid. And the reason why I want you to look up apartheid, because I want you to see the history of South Africa to help you understand all of a sudden they don't want nobody to come into this country. They're stopping everybody and everything, but yet they're willing to bring some people from South Africa. Because why are they bringing them in from South Africa? Because they're saying they were mistreated. Now, all the research I have, they haven't been mistreated. And I'll even stick this in, they haven't been mistreated. But why white South Africans? When you do your history on South Africa, there's a lot of black South Africans or mulatto South Africans. Why ain't they coming? Why ain't they bringing them in? I want you to do your research on South Africa. And I want you to do your research on apartheid. And I think what it's kind of trying to tell you is, some of them are coming over because they're afraid they're going to get mistreated, even though we were mistreated. And I think that says something about South Africans. At one time, when you do your research, you'll find who ran and controlled South Africa. And then you'll find that whole thing with Nelson Mandela. And then you'll see where it flipped over. But you'll also see they're not really being treated like many South Africans was treated before. I want you to find out what made South Africa change their policies. I was fortunate when I was in college. South Africa was a top issue, and a lot of American universities and things had put a lot of money into South Africa, and we had rallies and protests to say that we wanted them not to put money, diverse money and stuff into South Africa, and truly change their policies. So I want you to do your research. So I'm going to leave you with this again. Do your research. South Africa, apartheid, and ask yourself, why are you bringing only white people into America and you're closing down everything else? I believe there's issues in other countries that maybe need to come here too. So why aren't they getting the same opportunity? Ask yourself that. Because, ladies and gentlemen, we have to be true to ourselves. And so let's stop putting blinders on and act like we don't understand. Because we're supposed to be a country of everyone. A melting pot of everyone. And yes, we understand that many people that came here early on weren't treated right. Okay, we can name many ethnic groups that weren't treated right. I understand all that. But where is America at now? Where is America going? I want you to ask yourself that question, and I want you to look in the mirror and tell yourself, we have a right and responsibility to make this country about everyone. If you're going to make it fair, make it fair. If you're going to make it equitable, you make it that way. And the other thing I'm going to leave you with is that rules change. The game changes. this whole citizenship. They want to flip the script, but yet you got half of the people who's opposed to it benefited from it. So I want you to do your research on that too. Say, well, they're against it. Do they have any family members that was a part of it? Oh, they're against it now. Why are they against it? We can no longer walk around with blinders on. We can no longer think it's a fair playing field. As they cut funding from this and that and this and that, then we have to figure out how we're going to step up to the plate to support ourselves. So you can decide to take DEI and erase it and cross it out. But guess what? You can't cross it out from the mind. You can't cross it out from the heart. Yes, you can take a book, and yeah, you can burn it, but you can't erase it from the mind, what we already know. And we will continue to tell our story our way. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Fortunate today I have a young man, Mr. Andre Mills. He's going to tell you who he is. He works for the YMCA. And he works for the Camp Curtin YMCA. It's a YMCA that's basically in the community. Most of us grew up at Y's or boys clubs that pretty well was in our community. That's where we went. And I decided to bring him on because he has passion, he has vision, and I think he speaks to a number of things. Not just the why, but things about life and how he sees them that connects our community. So Andre, welcome on.
Thank you.
And the first thing I'd like for you to do,
yes, sir.
I'd like for you to tell our audience who you are, where you came from, what school, the neighborhood, everything. Tell them who you are.
Absolutely. Well, first I want to say thank you, Mr. Utley, for inviting me here into this wonderful situation, this great space that we're in, to be able to talk about things like this. So my name's Andre Mills, Jr., absolutely. My dad's the senior. I'm from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. I grew up from uptown Harrisburg. I went to Sci-Tech High, graduated class of 2007. Ooh, that was almost 20 years ago. 2007. We were the first class to do all 4 years at Sci-Tech. Then I took my education to Lincoln University. Ended up not finishing Lincoln University. I ended up going to Cheney University, which is still at HBCU. I graduated from Cheney in 2012, and I came back home. I got my insurance license, so I was an insurance agent for about 2 years. Then I had a cleaning business for about 3 years. Then the pandemic hit, and of course, the world was going crazy. So I ended up closing the cleaning business, and was just on standby for a little bit. Then I became a personal trainer. When the world opened back up, I started working at East Shore YMCA, which is downtown on Front Street. I was a personal trainer for about a year and a half. Then I got a promotion and became the sports program director at the East Shore YMCA. So I was the sports program director for 1 year. Then I got another promotion at the YMCA, and I became the youth and teen director at the Camp Curtin YMCA, which is what I do right now, and I love it. It's a great opportunity for me to give back to my community, which I'm extremely passionate about. Growing up from uptown Harrisburg, it was an experience, let's just say the least. We had our good and we had our bad. One thing about growing up in uptown Harrisburg, like we all knew each other. We was all like one big family. And I love that part. Of course, we got into situations with each other once in a while, but everything got resolved, in a nice, calmly manner. And I just, I'm happy to be back in the area, be back and take care of the community. Like I said, I appreciate Mr. Utley for allowing me to be here.
Well,
did I miss anything, Mr. Utley?
no, because I'm going to ask you, I got some questions for you.
Yes, sir. Talk to me.
When I had a conversation with you, and you went back up to work at the Camp Curtin Y where you grew up.
Yes, sir.
I was enlightened by the passion that you have. And what you see is a passion given back into the community. Why do you think it's so important to give back to the community?
Oh man, it's extremely important to give back to the community. One of my biggest things is to try to show these kids that there's other opportunities and other things that can be done, even though you grew up in such a small neighborhood and such like a community-based environment. Like it's room to grow, it's room to expand your mindset, and I feel like that's what I really want to do. That's what I have to do. Show these kids that there's other things, other sports around besides basketball and football. Just exposing these kids, and that's the thing I have to do.
Do you think that that's a missing thing in the community?
Absolutely. We only see what we know. We only know what we see, I should say. Mm-hmm. So if you don't show them other things that exist in the world, in the community, then they wouldn't know that it exists. I always use this analogy, and I stand on it. It's like there's a kid that comes into the gym and they shoot basketballs all day long and they cannot make a shot. And the reason being is because that's maybe not what they're supposed to do in life. They might supposed to be on the golf course, or maybe play tennis, or maybe be a swimmer. But if nobody exposes them to those type of activities, they would never know that they exist.
I think that by you saying that, do you think that there's a void in the community for people like you that needs to get involved in the community?
Absolutely. I think it is a void. I think it's a void, but I do think that there are people that's out here that is trying to offset that a little bit. Like, we have great people, if you don't mind me bringing up their names, like Brian Majors, that's in the community, that's on our board. We have Michael, that's in the community, he's also on our board. Those guys are definitely trying to make an impact into our community. They understand as well, just like me, like how vital it is to have people like us step up and be seen and show the kids that other alternatives.
Do you think sometimes those people who grew up in the community, they lose connect of the community, especially if they go away, or they live in the suburbs or whatever? Sometimes we forget where we came from.
Yes.
And so would you suggest, I'm just asking, would you suggest some of those people that might have grew up in whatever neighborhood, whether it's Camp Curtin in Harrisburg or in Homewood, wherever, do you think that maybe what you would recommend that all of us should, nothing else, stop by and see the old place?
Absolutely.
And the reason I say that to you is sometimes maybe we can get some volunteers. Maybe some of these people can see it ain't what it used to be.
Yes. And
times and things have changed, even though sometimes people want it to be the way it used to be. I've always tried to be transparent. So for those of y'all who may not know, I am the chair of the Camp Curtin Y board. But my point is this here. I used to get people stopping me and hollering and screaming, telling me how it used to be. It ain't like that anymore. But come up there and see how it is now and what you can contribute. There is no question we need role models. Male, female role models. Because something you said earlier, kids watch. They watch who you are, and you brought up the word exposure. They need to know about exposure. And like you said, there's many kinds of sports, there's many kinds of things that you're doing and you're having. So name some of the things that you guys are doing up at Camp Curtin.
Oh yeah, we have a number of things for the youth going on. We have soccer going on. We have flag football, basketball skills and drills. We have karate, judo. We have a great program called Y Achievers, which is It's a program that's ran during the school year though, so they'll be back up and running in August, which is basically a career readiness, college readiness program for high schoolers. And then we plan on, me and Tish, we plan on creating a junior achievers, which would be basically middle schoolers, and we will be preparing them for high school. And then once you get to high school, then you'll basically graduate out of junior achievers and go into Y achievers. But that's a great program that I want to see excel throughout the years, like it used to be. It used to be called Black Achievers back in the day. A lot of people might know that program as Black Achievers, but we want to revamp that and bring that back. We did a partnership with Major Prep and the Harrisburg Police for a 3-day basketball summer camp at our branch, at the Camp Curtin branch, June 24th to June 26th. Registrations is open right now, and that's free. We taking the first 50 kids. Lunch will be provided every day, and then on the third day, it'll be a cookout. We have a Father's Day car show coming up, which is, again, free to the public. It'll be at the Camp Curtin YMCA in the back. We have a nice-sized parking lot, and we definitely accepting any vendors. So if anybody wants to be a vendor, you can give me a call, contact me.
I think that what you said earlier about exposure. So I'm gonna flip. When you say exposure, and you were naming, because people, you have all kinds of things at the Camp Curtin.
Yes, sir.
And all over.
Yes, sir.
So, but we're just having a philosophical conversation, ladies and gentlemen. You brought up one, soccer. And I'm hearing now, soccer is stepping up.
Yeah.
And a lot of kids don't want to play football. They want to play soccer, but it's about being exposed. And I think that one of the things that we need to do is expose our kids to all kinds of things. I think that, and when I tell people this all the time, and I say, you know, there's a new day in era. Hopefully we're looking at programs of, like, somebody wants to maybe learn how to play an instrument. Maybe somebody wants to become a recording artist. We have to give kids exposure to give them something to do. But at the same time, what do you see as some of the problems for us as older adults or whatever that we need to relate to young people that they've shared with you?
That's a great question.
Other than they saying we don't always listen or we think we know everything.
I was about to say that.
You know, that's what you tell the audience what they tell
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, absolutely. Just probably patience. I'll probably say, like, just for the older people, for us, to be a lot more patient with the younger kids. It's a different era now. We dealing with things like social media, which is a big. I always say social media for us is like a gift and a curse. We have people change their whole family's life off of social media, and then we have individuals like ruin their lives through social media. So I always say it's a gift and curse. So it's patience, because you can talk to a kid till they blue in the face about a situation, and then they pick their phone up and they create their own mindset of what you guys just talked about off of just reading something that has no type of accreditation to it whatsoever. So I say just be patient, and I speak to that because I have a daughter and she's 13 years old, and if you know anything about that teenager kid thing, they think they know everything and you know absolutely nothing. You know absolutely nothing. I always have to remind my daughter, baby, I was 13 at one time. You was never 36. Okay, so I trust and believe when I tell you what I tell you. But I just have to have patience. I think one of the biggest things. We gotta have patience with the youth, and no matter what, don't give up on them. Don't give up on them.
What do you see when sometimes I hear this? Based on a lot of this generation, a lot of mothers and fathers are still not mature themselves.
Right.
So how do you balance that? Because they may have had a bad experience, so they've told their children to expect that same bad experience, which is not always the case. So how do you deal with that? Because I'm just asked it because respect is very important, and I always hear people say young people are just out of control, but you work with young people. So what do you say to what I just said?
Another good question. I would say everybody has like their own course. Like when I say course, like their own journey in life. Like everybody's situation will be different, and just because someone tell you like this is how it's going to be, don't necessarily mean that it will be that way. So just take your time and just go through the journey of life. And understand that you're going to have good days, you're going to have bad days, and adversity is what builds character. Like, so just weather the storm and push through and create your own mindset and conclusions about things. That's
What do you think that we as the community should do in terms of helping our youth through the peaks and valleys of life? Because they watch TV or they go on their phone, and a lot of them get not the real reality.
right.
When I hear kids, and I've seen it on TV when the kids say, "Oh, I'm only gonna live till I'm 13.
Right.
I'm only gonna live till I'm 14."
Right.
They've already made a decision that their lives are not going to be much of anything, or they're going to die at
Right.
13 or 14.
Right.
So what do you say to the parents, or what do you say to them?
First of all, I'd say don't think like that. That's way too young to think that you're going to not be here. Like, yeah, that's kind of disturbing. You know that kids think that's the case. I never heard that. Yeah.
Well, no, it's not disturbing because you think about it.
Yes, sir.
Let's be honest here.
Yes, sir.
They see people getting shot.
Yeah.
They see people dying.
Yeah.
So it's not unusual to know if one of your classmates
Yeah.
got killed.
Yeah.
I see it all the time when I drive in neighborhoods. I see balloons up. I see this up. I see a lot of young people lose their lives.
Yeah.
I see that.
Yeah.
So if I see that, what do you think? Because you work with young people. What do you think? What do you think
Yes, sir.
that we need to do to help counter it as best we can?
First and foremost, we need to create some more mentoring programs where people like myself and people that I graduated with, that they have to come back and give back and talk to these kids and let them know that they don't have to die that young at all. Like, there's other ways to live life, and to show them some productive ways. Like, that's what we have to do. We got to come back. We got to come back and give back and try our best to mentor these kids, create these programs, and just be around, be present. Be present.
Do you think that we have a moral responsibility to show people there's value in life?
Absolutely.
And the reason
Absolutely.
I bring that up
Yes.
is because I see kids all the time.
Mhm.
They know somebody that got shot.
Mhm.
They know somebody. They've gone to funerals
Mhm.
in elementary school, junior high school, and they just think that. And that's why I said between social media and whatever, and they read it and they see it, but they don't understand the impact. And the impact is, it not only affects them, but it affects their parents. It affects the community. Because if somebody kills someone, it has effect on both groups.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
and I'm hearing that a lot of young people join gangs because they feel no connect.
Mm.
So if they're joining gangs with no connect, then we, and I'm asking you as a professional, what are some of the things that you may think that we should do? Because you're very passionate.
Oh, yeah.
That's the reason I brought you on the program. Because you're passionate about the community. You're passionate about where we're going. So I just want to get your view on what let's be candid. What do you think that, parents have to take some responsibility?
Absolutely. It starts in the home. Absolutely.
Okay, it starts at home. So we agree that.
Yes.
So they're expecting institutions like schools, the wives, the boys club, they can't be the parents. So you're saying parents need to take some responsibility.
Absolutely, that's no question. Parents need to be a lot more engaged. Whether that's making sure that the kids are signed up for these programs that I just mentioned, or dropping them off at these programs, making sure they get home safely from school, making sure that they get the proper nutrition to go to school and learn, which is extremely important. Yeah, absolutely. It starts in the home, man. If there's no type of respect being taught in the home, it's not going to be any shown outside of the home. And I can definitely say, like, my mother and my stepdad definitely instilled a lot of those mannerisms in me growing up. Just some walking into someone's home and speaking to them. Like, that is something that I make sure that all the kids that walk into the YMCA, the Camp Curtin YMCA, they make sure that they speak to us first. You don't just come and scan in and go in or tell us your last name. You speak to Tish, you speak to our front door, our front desk attendant, you speak to me. Like, just little small things like that. Your mannerisms will take you way further places than money could. So I definitely am big on that. Yes,
and that's good. I want you to repeat that again, because I think that's very important.
Yes, sir.
Because
Yes, sir.
we need to teach our kids to speak. We need to teach our kids to be able to communicate with one another.
Yes. Yes.
But we have a responsibility as well as to speak to them.
Yes.
We have a responsibility to give them hope,
Yes.
vision.
Yep.
And we as our group have to stop making kids feel negative or feel they're not important. And when we were growing up, we had that in the neighborhood, as you say.
Yes. Yep.
You had that as a family.
Yep.
Now everything is dispersed, and a lot of neighborhoods have changed. Before you grew up and the next person grew up, they all lived in the same neighborhood and the cousins, and you don't have that anymore. And since you don't have that anymore, what is the thing that you think that we can do to kind of make people feel wanted? And the reason I asked you that question, because I always say to people, speak to everybody, say hi to everybody.
Right.
We need to speak to senior citizens, and senior citizens need to speak back, and we need to communicate. And sometimes I see young people, and I say hi, or how you doing, and they're so angry.
Yeah.
And I say, but they're angry, and I don't know why they're angry, because they really haven't really experienced a whole lot of life yet. So what do you think some of the things that we can do?
Talk to him. I think that's one of the biggest things. Like, if you run into a young man like that, just don't let him walk away. Ask him exactly what you just said. Why are you so upset, young man? I do that a lot.
Sure.
I do that a lot. I ask the young man, well, you had a bad day today? They come in with a frown on their face. How's your day going? How was your day? You need a snack? Is there anything I can do to make you feel better? I think it's conversation. Yeah, it's a lot. But I would just start there. Just have a conversation with that young man, and
We
I
need
think
to
that'll
show.
help a lot.
So
Yes,
what
sir.
you're saying is, would you say we need to show we care,
Yes, absolutely.
and we need to
Yes.
show that they have value?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why I think it's very important. I think schools and organizations is doing a lot, but we have to also go back to parents. Parents children watch what their parents are doing.
Yes.
And one of the things that bothers me sometimes is that we need to get engaged, because I see institutional. It's a regrowing thing.
Yes.
And that's why I'm concerned, because there are people that live in public housing. Public housing was only supposed to be a one-stop.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you got your cell phone, you move. Now we have generation.
Yep.
And they become very dependent on this system.
Mm-hmm.
And now we see the new administration saying, well, we're going to change that. And now they're going to change it. So we need to figure out how we can counter it.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of just, and I say this all the time,
Mm-hmm.
instead of walking around and protesting
Mm-hmm.
and saying that we should overcome, we need to figure out mechanisms so that we can land on our feet.
Right.
And we can't wait till the last minute.
Right.
And we can't be counter-reactive. So I would ask you this. If you had to speak for the next 3 minutes to my audience, I want you to tell them directly what you think we should do.
Whew.
Just let it go, because you're passionate, and just say it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we should do a lot. One of the things, I'm gonna just speak on just me being a parent
Sure.
of a 13-year-old, and one of the things that I'm trying to have her understand is this accountability. You know, like make sure that you stand on that. Like if you do something wrong, you know, it's okay to admit that you make mistakes. Like, and I'm speaking like to the kids. It's okay to make mistakes. That's how we learn. That's how we grow. Have kids understand that. Like it's okay to make a mistake. Hold yourself accountable. Try better next time. There's no such thing as failure. You know, everything is either a lesson, you know, and that's that. Like,
I think accountability
Yeah.
is very important,
Yeah.
because we don't hold people accountable.
Yes.
And that's part of the problem. We don't hold people accountable.
Yeah.
We come up with excuses
Mm-hmm.
as to why, and we got to stop doing that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I had a conversation with someone today,
Mm-hmm.
and they were saying that they hired someone to do something,
Mm-hmm.
and the kid didn't do what he was told to do.
Mm-hmm.
And when he went to say something to the kid, the parent was there and basically said, well, he's only 17.
Mm-hmm.
We got to stop making excuses like
Yes,
that.
yes.
So I think accountability is good.
Yes.
So first of
Yes.
all, you're saying accountability is important.
Yes.
What
yes,
else?
Yes. Accountability, and I would say goal setting. I'm big on that. I'm big on goal setting. Like have the youth, not even the youth, adults too. Everybody should set some goals that they should try to strive for and achieve for. I always came to realization that once you set some goals and you make marks and strives towards that goal, it'll just boost your confidence even more. And confidence is extremely important in life. Like everybody needs to have some sense of confidence and feel proud of who they are and walk around with your head held high and be happy. And yeah, that's definitely one of the things.
Goals.
Yeah, goal setting.
Goal setting.
Accountability, yeah,
Accountability
absolutely.
are very important.
Respect, mannerism, things that I already touched on. You
Okay,
know.
respect, mannerisms. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Things like that. Be fearless. You know, like don't be afraid to try new things. You know, talk to different people that you normally wouldn't talk to on a normal basis. I think that's one of the great things about working for the Y is the networking. And I meet so many people, especially at East Shore, throughout the years working at the Y, and a lot of people are my friends for years now. A lot of them became sponsors from some of my programs, and that's just all from networking, from just talking to people and just being nice and being respectful and being kind and things like that. So I think it goes back to like morals and principles.
Okay.
Morals and principles. Have some, stand on them, believe in them, believe in yourself, be confident, be fearless. Yeah.
If I gave you 1 minute for the programming, what would you want to leave the audience with? Even though you said them all.
Yeah, I was about to say.
You said them all, but there has to be something
yeah.
that you want to leave them with. You round them up, and you may want to say them again.
Yeah.
What you think is important.
Well, one of the things, what I'm here for, what I'm representing on my sweatshirt, is the YMCA. The Camp Curtin YMCA is back. It's doing well. I just want people to come check us out. Come look at our programs that we have to offer. We have food pantry every day from 9:30 to 12:30. We got a summer camp, a STEAM summer camp. Registrations is open now. Yeah, just come check out our branch and come give back. If you want to volunteer for mentoring, or if you want to be a referee for one of my basketball or football programs, or a coach, yeah, just stop past the Camp Curtin YMCA, 2135 North 6th Street, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
Well, I'm going to leave with this here.
Yes, sir.
Even though this is the Y, there's so many organizations out there that we need to get involved. Not just the Y, Boys and Girls Clubs, Salvation Army. There's so many out there, but get involved. Let us start to support young people, because, ladies and gentlemen, they follow us. Somebody reached back and pulled us up.
Mm-hmm.
It's now our responsibility to reach back and pull them up.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to leave you with that, but hey, today's election day, so no excuses. Election day, no excuses. And I gave you a homework assignment. Look up South Africa. Look up, study apartheid. Learn why the narratives are the way they are. And I think you'll better understand. No longer should we allow people to define who we are and what we think, but we'll define who we are, and we'll do our own research to get to the truth. Thank you, and I'm looking forward to seeing you soon on Did You Know? Have a good day.
Great job, Tom.